tonight on a special 2-hour edition of 2020. Whitney Houston, the soaring talent, the model looks, the 3-octave miracle, summed up in just 2 words: the voice. A powerhouse from the very beginning. And we trace it all, the legacy and downfall of a music legend.
She said, those same people that are going to applaud are the same people in time they're going to throw darts. And so...
Barbara Walters with the young innocent, just starting out.
Can anyone prepare you for fame? It's a hell of a territory.
Diane Sawyer with the seasoned pro, plagued by rumors of drugs and addiction.
If you had to name the devil,
That would be me.
And the star who knew her at the very top of her game in The Bodyguard.
I just looked at her and I said, oh man, this girl really, she just really has it.
Tonight, a look at what went so tragically wrong.
she was never more than 2 feet from me the entire night.
All new details about her very last hours.
I could smell that she had definitely been smoking cigarettes and had definitely been drinking.
What really happened behind the closed doors of that 4th-floor luxury suite?
They were very clear that she was not to take baths because they were concerned about her falling asleep, about her hurting herself in the tub.
And what comes next for Bobby Christina, the little girl we saw grow up in front of our very eyes?
2, 3.
No.
I love you.
Whitney Houston, her moments in time. Here's Chris Cuomo.
Those songs you just heard, sermons from an unlikely preacher named Whitney Elizabeth Houston. All these photos, the Super Bowl, more like the super voice of generations. Our colleague Jim Avila has been in LA all week piecing together what went so terribly wrong in her final days and hours, and the investigation now underway. What the police have not told us, and what eyewitnesses have.
I wanna feel the heat with somebody.
Across the country this week, fans gather to sing a musical echo. Humble voices harmonizing with the voice. They are mourning a fallen star with the voice of an angel. But as Americans sing and pray on the eve of Whitney Houston's funeral in New Jersey, an investigation in California continues, and we are all still left wondering just what happened. Houston was in Los Angeles to celebrate Grammy weekend, a routine she was used to after being nominated 26 times herself. But on this year's Grammy weekend, there are signs of trouble. The first Thursday morning at an unscheduled press opportunity in the Beverly Hilton lobby.
I see her, she's just walking around looking lost, and she was very loud and boisterous, so she was causing a couple of head turns from some of the media there.
LA Times music reporter Garrett Kennedy sees a fading music giant, a former phenomenon, now in disrepair.
Her hair was like dripping wet. It was weird because the rest of her was completely dry.
All of you.
That same afternoon, Houston barges into the middle of an ETV interview with her mentor, Clive Davis, and singers Brandy and Monica. Amid manic hugs and kisses, she urges her 18-year-old daughter, Bobby Christina, to hug her godfather, Clive Davis.
Come see her. Come say hi.
The music mogul who made her career. It is an awkward moment. But in the next few hours, a transformation. The loud, boisterous Whitney, who's been on display, is again replaced by the woman with bright eyes and a brighter smile. 8 o'clock Thursday night in her 4th-floor suite, hairdresser Reginald Dowdley is there to help her make magic.
As she opened her arms, she greeted me with a smile. She was fine. I saw nothing. She seemed happy. She seemed joyful. And here she is. I'm finishing her look up for the night, and she's smiling. She's happy. She's dressed.
I knew, there was an event later that night, and I'm just like, there's no way she's going to show up to this thing. There's just no way, and she did.
Jason Lee runs a management company and was hosting a party for Houston's friend and Grammy nominee Kelly Price.
How did she look physically to you?
I just remember how beautiful she looked. She had on a black dress and black heels, and Her daughter was, presented very well.
A woman who had struggled with sobriety was out partying with her 18-year-old daughter and her sometimes boyfriend, rapper Ray J, 18 years her junior, best known for co-starring in the infamous Kim Kardashian sex tape.
We gave her a bottle of champagne, and she just sat in her seat and hung out with her friends.
She came up on the stage and joined me for that brief moment. She waved to the crowd so that they would see her. She told me, "Give me the mic."
You are now watching what would be Whitney Houston's last performance.
The world got a last gift in that they got an opportunity to see her perform one last time.
But photos taken later that night show Houston leaving the club looking haggard and out of it. There appears to be blood dripping down her leg and scratches on her body.
They say I'm trouble and I don't give a damn.
Perhaps from a confrontation with a former reality show contestant who was seen chatting. Some reported flirting with Ray J. Whitney's friends say they didn't see any of that.
It was a great event, and she left sweaty, and I've heard the word disheveled. That's about right. You would leave a club at the wee hours of the morning, sweaty and looking that way.
The next day, Friday, of what some are calling Whitney's lost weekend, she is seen skipping around the Beverly Hilton lobby, somersaulting at the pool, again her clothes in disarray and her hair dripping wet.
Her publicist told us that Whitney was at the spa, and later we learned that Whitney was actually at the bar.
She started drinking early on Saturday as well, but people were in touch with her pretty much throughout that day.
Saturday afternoon, Houston talks by phone with her legendary cousin, Dionne Warwick, and her mother, Sissy. Moments later, she has a burger, a turkey sandwich, a glass of champagne, and a Heineken, all delivered by room service. She then enters the bathroom to prepare for Clive Davis's star-studded pre-Grammy party.
They had heard her singing. From what one of the guys said, they had heard, movement in there.
She had her entourage in her suite waiting to fix her up for the party. Hair, makeup, wardrobe. After she hadn't come out of the bathroom for about an hour's time, they found her not responsive in the bathtub.
She died alone. Her body discovered at 3:30 in the afternoon by a longtime confidant she called Aunt Mary, who pulled her from the tub and tried CPR. There were 20 minutes of efforts to save her, none of them successful.
At 3:55 p.m. this afternoon, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead at the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Prescription drugs, including Valium, were found in the bathroom. And in the bathtub, olive oil in a gravy boat she used to treat her skin. The LA County Coroner's Office completed an autopsy in a day, but toxicology reports and medical records from her doctors may tell the real story of how this 48-year-old woman died. But for now, Whitney Houston's official death certificate reads, cause of death deferred, manner of death pending investigation. Meanwhile, in the wake of her death, with her body still in her suite downstairs, unbelievably to some, the Clive Davis pre-Grammy party goes on.
And so you ended up with this surreal scene where his party's going on, where she's supposed to be a guest, and she's dead upstairs at the Beverly Hilton.
We immediately wondered if we should come, if this would still be going on.
But it was very odd being there and knowing that, the police were trying to figure out how do we get her out, how do we handle this in any kind of dignified and respectful way.
You had half the red carpet photographers rushing over to the loading dock where they would be taking Whitney Houston's body out instead of being on the red carpet where she would have otherwise been photographed.
9 hours after her death and after the party, Houston's body is finally taken to the morgue. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, is rushed off to the hospital to be treated for stress and anxiety. Houston's mother, Sissy, takes control and brings Whitney Houston home to New Jersey. The platinum singer is flown by private jet to an awaiting golden hearse. She will have a church funeral, not a public memorial.
They have shared her for 30-some years with the world. This is their time now for their farewell.
A farewell to the fast life that took its toll. The governor ordering flags to be flown at half-staff. Whitney Houston buried this weekend in her home state of New Jersey with honors.
If I was angry at her, which was many times, All she had to do was sing. Oh, I forgive you.
Who heard it last? And how they tried to fix it in between. The smoker's rasp, the laryngitis, so many of those high notes gone.
She'd say, I know I've done things that hurt me, and she had a cigarette. As she saw me, she said, "Oh, Gary," and she hugged me and threw the cigarette over my shoulder as she was hugging me.
One Moment in Time continues with Chris Connolly.
Shimmering, soaring, spectacular. A voice that mesmerized America. Hit-making producer Jimmy Jam would be among the first to marvel at it.
When you think of great voices like Aretha Franklin, it's very powerful and very soulful in a bluesy, gospel-y way. And this was different. This had the soul, it had the emotion, but it sounded young.
All by Itself, or later with Mariah Carey at the Academy Awards in 1999.
Whitney kind of set the bar of the people that came after her. They owe her, and they acknowledge it. I mean, you know, Mariah's never been shy to go Whitney.
But nobody ever wanted to hear Whitney Houston sounding like this in 2010. That great singing voice, a shell of its former self, but not from age.
If you take care of your voice, you can have almost the same voice in your 80s to 90s as you did in your 30s and 40s.
It was battered by her own behavior and excesses, as Whitney herself knew only too well.
She'd say, I know I've done things that hurt me, and I have to change it.
How much did she want those high notes to come back?
Badly.
It was back in 2005 when vocal coach Gary Katona began working with Whitney.
Her speaking voice was completely hoarse, and her singing voice was completely hoarse. She had virtually had maybe 1 or 2 tones in her lower register. That's it.
Her voice was gone.
Gone. She said, I want my voice back. I have to get it back. It appeared to be so damaged that when I first began to work with her, I was not sure what I can do.
In their 30-minute sessions, she'd speak of her relationship to her voice.
She used to say to me, people have standards that they expect me to live up to. I have a problem with that myself, trying to live up to what I once was.
Had she taken her voice for granted?
I think so. I think she allowed her lifestyle to enter the purity of her art and to destroy it. And I think that broke her heart.
From 2005 to 2009, there'd be dedication in their sessions and some vocal progress. Check out her 2009 UK appearance on The X Factor.
I think she was probably, at her best, she was about 75, 80%.
But as others found, there could be no controlling Whitney's behavior.
I left her house and I'd forgotten something, and I walked back in and she had a cigarette in her hand. And she saw me, she said, "Oh, Gary," and she hugged me and threw the cigarette over my shoulder as she was hugging me.
Still, like everyone who heard Whitney sing, she knew she was unique.
Whitney Houston believed that she was special. She even said to me, you know, these other girls that are singing right now, they're good, but they're not as good as I am.
How special? At last Sunday's Grammys, her peers were quick to say.
She was such an example of beauty and grace, and you never saw a talent like that.
My biggest memory was seeing her on the Arsenio Hall show, and she sang this little gospel melody that just gave me chills.
Feed me till
I was like, wow, if she did a record like that, I would buy 1,000 copies and give them to everybody I know.
Their favorite songs were just like everyone else's. Bonnie Raitt, for example.
I Will Always Love You just slays me.
But that 1992 mega hit from The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner, perhaps the greatest showcase ever for Whitney's voice, nearly didn't happen.
She was supposed to sing What Becomes of the Brokenhearted. And while we were shooting, Kevin and had David Foster in the studio with Whitney, and they were working on it, and the song wasn't really working.
Dolly Parton's composition, I Will Always Love You, was suggested instead. Whitney would learn the song by listening to Linda Ronstadt's version. Then sang it live on the film set.
Whitney just killed it. It was thrilling. The entire crew was sitting in a semicircle on the floor, and you could hear a pin drop.
Punctuating her vocal greatness was the song's beginning, an unprecedented 40 seconds of a cappella singing. Pure Whitney.
Kevin Costner had always seen her starting at a cappella. The record company was a little nervous about releasing it because there would be so much quiet on the radio. And they were afraid the radio people would turn off because they would think it was dead air. But as history has shown, nobody turned that dial.
It was not just technical ability, but there was a great emotional intelligence that would really sell the song and really grab you and make you feel this love that she's talking about.
It was the crowning moment of a 7-year run in which the glories of Whitney's voice transfixed even those who thought they'd heard it all, both her talent and her taste, as vocal coach Roger Love points out.
Luther Vandross used to say that a lot of singers feel like they're getting paid by the note. Whitney Houston never really tried to put so many riffs and runs and turns like a lot of her contemporary R&B pop singers were doing. Her voice was so beautiful just holding out the notes.
She had this ability to sing athletically and to excite you with this immense voice, this big sound, that she could do anything she wanted to do with it.
Her chest voice was so full and so open, and the resonance of it was so thick and more beautiful than we'd heard in years.
For Jimmy Jam, her first single, You Give Good Love, was a revelation.
There wasn't the big crescendos that she became known for, and those big chord modulations at the end where the song just gets huge. The song was just almost like somebody whispering to you. I thought it was brilliant.
She can break your heart with the emotion. That's a special voice. There's nobody who has that capacity these days. She was one of a kind.
Next, Barbara Walters with the little gospel girl they used to call Nippy.
Did your mother want you to be a singer?
She had no choice. I was singing by the time I was 7 years old.
Do a bit.
Guide me, oh, thou great Jehovah.
Is that how you did at 11?
Yeah.
So the house must have come down.
And she's just getting warmed up. One Moment in Time continues with Deborah Roberts.
Before she was Whitney Houston's superstar, before that voice, that face, and now that tragic ending, she was just a little girl singing in the choir of the New Hope Baptist Church. Tomorrow, that little girl will come home to the pews and prayers of where her life began.
Growing up, I loved church. It was family. And it was always happy. You know, it was always, praise the Lord, how you doing? God bless you, child. Praying for you. How you doing in school? It was a family thing, you know? It was a sense of belonging. And the singing, the praise, the joyful noise we made unto God was amazing.
When she was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1963, the youngest child of John and Cissy Houston, she had music running through her veins. Cissy was a successful gospel and blues singer. Her cousin, legendary Dionne Warwick, and the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, like a godmother. Whitney spoke of those dynamic influences with Barbara Walters in 1993.
Did your mother want you to be a singer?
She had no choice. I was singing by the time I was 7 years old. I don't think my mother wanted me to be in show business, but she knew it was inevitable.
But before she sang a note, everyone knew her as Nippy, a pet name. Her parents would separate years later, but they tried to give little Nippy a normal life, moving when she was 4 from gritty Newark to this middle-class suburban house in East Orange, New Jersey. Home was loving but disciplined.
How were you raised? Strict mother?
Yes. Strict father. They weren't mean. They weren't abusive, but they didn't take any mess. And it was understood in my home, you know, that there were certain rules and guidelines and boundaries, and we don't cross those.
Early on, Whitney dreamed of being a teacher or veterinarian, but when she opened her mouth at age 11 in the church choir, her destiny was clear, as she told Diane Sawyer in 2002.
I would close my eyes like this and I'd sing. I was so afraid and I'd sing. And when I would open my eyes, the people would be what we call Holy Ghost fired out. They would be in such spirit of praise. I think I knew then it was an infectious thing that God had given me.
And you sang, "Guide me, O thou great Jehovah." Do you remember it?
Sure do. Sure do.
Do a bit.
Guide me, O thou great Jehovah, feed me till I want no more.
Is that how you did it at 11?
Yeah.
But the house must have come down.
Yeah, that's how I did it. I knew that God had given me a gift. I didn't know quite what I wanted to do with it. I basically just wanted to be a background singer. I wanted to sing with my mother.
And she did. But while singing alongside her mother in concert, or belting choir solos, or taking voice lessons in Manhattan, she was just a student riding the number 29 bus to Mount St. Dominic Academy, an all-girls Catholic school in New Jersey.
I was very, very shy and very to myself. And I mean, in high school, none of the kids knew I could really sing. I didn't join the Glee Club. I wasn't part of any chorus.
Nobody really was aware of her vocal lessons or the weekends that she was spending in the city. She was very humble and just easygoing and fun-loving.
And this is senior picture?
Yes, it is. And
she called you Cher?
She called me Cher.
Cher is Cheryl Falzo, one of Whitney's best friends in high school, where the shy but sweet teen was voted most likely to succeed.
Were you aware that she had a good voice?
As far as choir, I do not even remember her participating in that or theater. But I don't think it was an unwillingness. I think it was more that she had a direction. And I think she always knew that she was destined for fame.
In the early 80s, while still in high school, Whitney caught the eye of a photographer.
Did you know that she was beginning to model?
I did. She did share with me the 17 magazine.
What did you think of that?
I loved it. I cut it out. I was like every girl. It's in my scrapbook.
Her natural beauty and girl-next-door smile landed her in Glamour, Cosmopolitan, and 17, the first black woman to ever grace its cover.
Such a chic look.
Absolutely stunning young woman. Complete package? Sure.
Joe Levy is the former executive editor of Rolling Stone magazine.
But why she didn't stick with it? I don't think you need a reason not to stick with modeling. And one reason for her not to stick with modeling is, have you heard her sing?
Music was Whitney's passion. By 15, she was already singing backup for acts like Jermaine Jackson and Chaka Khan.
When I first started performing, I was very, very critical, and it used to really bother me that, God, why didn't I sing that note? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do this? You know?
Whitney Houston had the chance to learn from Aretha Franklin, and from her mother, Cissy Houston, and from her cousin, Dionne Warwick. These great singers in the R&B soul tradition. Whitney took from that and built on it.
I thought she sounded good, but I didn't know if she would have what it takes to be in the business.
Long before Ricky Minor became the musical director for the Tonight Show band, he was a struggling artist like Whitney Houston looking for that big break.
First time I met Whitney, I got a call from another musician I knew named John Simmons saying, hey, I have this girl singing in my church trying to get a record deal. Will you put it together a showcase for her in LA? And we rehearsed, sounded great, and we waited, and we waited. And no one showed up. Many have been fired because they didn't go to that showcase and sign this girl.
But the choir girl's fate was about to change and catapult her into the upper stratosphere of fame.
Can anyone prepare you for fame?
No.
I mean, your mother sang, your cousin sang. Can anyone really tell you what it was going to be like?
They can't. And all they ever say to me is, so you wanted to be a star. Like, oh God. I just wanted to sing. You know, I wanted to do what was in my soul, what was in my heart. This other madness, you know, they say that comes with the territory, you know. Ooh, it's a hell of a territory.
One moment in time continues with Deborah Roberts.
It was 1983. Michael Jackson, The Police, and Men at Work were topping the pop charts. But another voice, pure and sweet, was about to explode onto the scene. In a nightclub, an unknown 19-year-old caught the eye of legendary record executive Clive Davis.
This young girl breathed such fire, such life into this song. I mean, it really sent the proverbial tingles up my spine.
Tingles quickly led to a record contract. The veteran producer and the teenager from Newark were about to make music history. Their first stop, the Merv Griffin Show.
My band was like really slow in the tempo. And I never forget, my mother comes from behind the stage. She takes the control of the band and she starts directing the band. Most hysterical thing you ever want to see, my mother in the background doing the band like this and I'm singing, and it's really kind of cute.
But it was Clive Davis who would directly oversee every song, every career move.
Clive's fingerprints all over that early Whitney sound and even the presentation. Class, elegance, gowns, like a princess ready to become a queen.
That princess would release an album in 1985 simply titled Whitney Houston. It would change the music landscape forever, with the #1 single, Saving All My Love for You.
All My Love came out, and it just went crazy.
Ricky Minor, now Whitney's music director, watched the Jersey Girl morph into a household name.
And we talked then, and we couldn't believe how big, you know, like, I'm like, you're a star now. Like, we had hot dogs, like, just 2 years ago, and, like, you're, like, a star.
A star with a rare combination of poised self-assurance and youthful exuberance that made Whitney Houston an MTV sensation, the channel's first black female megastar. The head-spinning success left little time to prepare as Whitney went on tour.
So we flew into Houston, Texas, and we bought T-shirts that said Houston, and then we wrote a W in front of it so we would have our tour shirts.
Whitney Houston's songs found that middle ground, but that middle ground would bring criticism from the fringes. Her close friend, singer Bebe Winans, remembers how much it troubled her.
She hit superstardom. There were some who criticized the music is too white bread. It's too pop.
That hurt her. See, I'm not black enough. I'm selling out. And I'll be honest, I told her one day, I said, shoot, girl, let's just cry and go to the bank.
I sing from my heart and my soul. Whoever can feel that and understand that and likes it, then buy it. If you don't, then don't.
But America was buying into the beautiful singer. She was everywhere, in commercials, and TV.
Do you think it's wise to mix business with pleasure?
Oh, business.
Then came 3 Grammy nominations for her first album and a chance on that 1986 awards show to showcase her simple elegance.
We would just laugh because, you know, it was like, she ain't no dancer. She can't dance. She can't dance. She ain't got no rhythm. And we would just crack up. And she was like, I can dance. I was like, girl, if you don't shut up, forget dancing. Just stand right there and do what you do.
That night, Whitney went home with a Grammy, and that electric performance later won her an Emmy. It seemed an impossible act to follow, but 23-year-old Whitney would prove herself again in 1987 with her second album, Whitney. Her chart-topping song, I Wanna Dance with Somebody, became a 1980s anthem. But as the years wore on, the novelty of fame began to wear off.
I'm a pretty nice person, you know. I think as I became famous, I became a little more, my defense, you know, mechanism came into full effect. Because it's a business, and it takes a lot of the fun out of it, but you don't know until you learn for yourself.
Cheryl Falzo was Whitney's high school friend.
As years went on, I became a little worried because sometimes you just can't imagine. She was a human being, exposed to so much at one time. That would make me worry.
Yet, Whitney Houston was at the top of her game, breaking records and breaking down doors for other black female artists. The young singer from Newark seemed destined to become one of music's immortals, one who was about to breathe new life into America's anthem.
Since the Star-Spangled Banner was written in 1814, how many people have sung it? Probably hundreds of millions. But only one made it completely her own, erasing everything that had come before. Whitney Houston. Right time, right place, even right tracksuit. And a voice that brought the country together at a time we needed it most. By the age of 27, Whitney Houston has fame, fortune, and millions of adoring fans. But the star became a superstar on one day. Sunday, January 27, 1991.
Please join in the singing of our national anthem.
The NFL invites Houston to sing the national anthem at Super Bowl 25, a Super Bowl that almost didn't happen. It is the first week of the first Gulf War. In the land of the free, fear of a terror attack. Overseas, the glare of real rockets and bombs bursting in air. The traditional pregame Star-Spangled Banner takes on new meaning.
Jeff Hostetler.
The New York Giants quarterback Jeff Hostetler is on the field that day.
Seeing sharpshooters up on the top on the press box, to see the helicopters with the guns out, you knew that there was a lot more going on than just the Super Bowl.
In the stadium, I could see the fear, the hope, the intensity, the prayers going up, and I just felt like this is the moment.
Whitney Houston is about to be on the biggest stage of her life. 80 million viewers across the country, 700 million worldwide, including servicemen and women on active duty in the Middle East. Not to mention, she's taking on a song that many believe is almost impossible to perform well.
The original version is in 3/4 time, which is more like a waltz. Oh, say, can you see?
Ricky Minor is the band leader on Jay Leno's Tonight Show, but in 1991, he was Whitney's musical director.
What we tried to do was to put it in 4/4 meters, so we wanted to give her a chance to phrase it in such a way that she would be able to take her time and really express the meaning.
But you fiddle with the anthem at your own risk. Galaxies of stars have embarrassed themselves bungling the Star-Spangled Banner.
I was really nervous about this, whether people would receive this arrangement.
As the world watches, the camera cuts to Whitney.
And you can hear guys whisper, hey, that's Whitney, that's Whitney, that's Whitney. It was going down the line like that.
And this is what America hears.
She's singing for the whole world in that moment. She's representing herself, her pride and country. And you could hear that in her voice.
At what point during Whitney Houston's performance did it hit you that you were in the middle of something special?
The minute she opened her mouth, I think everyone was like mesmerized.
It was respectful. It was dignified.
Inspiring, moving, not a reinterpretation, but someone saying, look, you know what? This is mine.
Purity, complexity, strength of voice, pride in self, pride in country. It's all there.
And it was hope. We just needed hope, to bring our babies home. And that's what it was about for me. That's what I felt when I sang that song. And the overwhelming love coming out of the stands was incredible.
A lot of performers stay away from that song because it's so hard to sing.
No, they stay away because Whitney did it.
Giants running back Otis Anderson was chosen MVP of Super Bowl 25, a title he feels he shares with Whitney Houston. Did Whitney give you a little boost that day?
I think everybody got a boost on my team because of the performance.
You didn't offer her a share of the MVP trophy, though. You took full credit for that.
Well, she got a lot of trophies, trust me. She had a lot of trophies.
No one even cares when it comes out the audience heard a pre-recorded performance while Whitney was singing. What electrified football fans soon ignites a national obsession. Radio requests, replays on music TV channels. Houston's label, Arista Records, scrambles to produce a single.
It's an interesting thing because it's clearly not intended as a single, and it's rushed out in a way that was much more difficult in 1991 before iTunes.
Whitney Houston's anthem hits the top 20 on the Billboard charts. She donates the proceeds to the Red Cross for the troops. That spring, as the war ends, she meets the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga to welcome the troops home in person. Then, 10 years later, comes September 11th, America again at war. And the country again turns to Whitney Houston's inspiring rendition of the anthem, making it the top-selling single. It's been 21 years now since Super Bowl 25, and you probably can't remember much about the game or even who won. But this was unforgettable.
I think it brought us as a nation together. I think that song at that particular time in that venue did some amazing things for us.
At this moment in time, a bright star, a voice gallantly streaming through the night. What a triumph. And in our next hour, an even greater success, The Bodyguard, plus video no one has ever seen before. Whitney at her most private and raw, and at her most tender as a mother. Whitney's journey continues with One Moment in Time, next after the break. Tonight, we continue with more of Whitney's story, her rise and fall. Video that's never been seen before. Backstage, willing herself to go on. Her signature song that broke open every possibility, including movie star fame.
Kevin Costner, I said, why me? He said, because you're the only one that can sing.
And from movies, Marriage, to Bobby Brown, Barbara Walters in the couple's happier days.
I think this marriage is going to last and last
till the end of time.
And Diane Sawyer, when the fairy tale began to crumble.
But that's not just thin.
Well, what is it? Diane, tell me. Do you know?
It's scary thin.
Rehab and comebacks, trying to get the music going again.
She was plotting a true comeback. She had actually had her camp approach the X Factor producers to get on the show.
And finally, what she left behind. Her music and her daughter, Bobby Christina. What you've never heard before from that Diane Sawyer interview.
Mommy, do you know why I'm here? She says to take care of that beautiful face of yours.
Tonight, Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time. Once again, Chris Cuomo.
Welcome back. Racing with Destiny. That line seems to sum up where Whitney's life was going, and of course, none of us knew where it would lead. But even from such a height, a blockbuster movie and a new marriage, things would only come falling back down to earth. She was unstoppable. Whitney Houston, the girl with the golden voice, the undisputed queen of pop in 1992. It was then she caught the eye of a Hollywood heavyweight, looking for a star for his next movie.
She was just a true beauty and such a musical instrument, and I really wanted her.
The Bodyguard was a romantic thriller starring Kevin Costner, who plays a former Secret Service agent hired to protect a pop star from an unknown stalker. It would be Houston's first foray onto the silver screen, as she told Diane Sawyer in 2002.
You said you were scared to death on The Bodyguard.
Scared to death. Terribly frightened. I mean, Kevin Costner. I said, why me? He said, because you're the only one that can sing.
And I just looked at her and I said, oh man, this girl really, she just really has it.
The Bodyguard was a really revolutionary movie. You never really saw the exploration of interracial love in a big blockbuster that way.
I kissed her once for everybody in America, and I kissed her once for myself.
The movie was a mega hit, making over $400 million, and yet it would be the soundtrack that would become legendary. What did that mean for her at the time? Not known as an actress, let alone a black female actress as lead.
It was incredible. They were the two biggest of big at that moment.
Serious actress, serious.
And it may surprise you that the song we all remember, I Will Always Love You, was actually an afterthought, suggested by Costner and written by Dolly Parton.
Dolly song was a song that I'd always really, really loved. And, you know, truth be told, the musical side of her camp was very unsure about this little country song.
The song wound up being the best-selling single by a female artist in history. Success Whitney did not see coming. She had deep insecurities surrounding her acting and says it was her husband, Bobby Brown, who pushed her past her fears.
I'd wake up in the morning and I'd go, I can't do this. This is too much for me. Bobby, I'm going to quit today. Okay, I'm going to quit. He said, no way are you going to do that. If you quit now, you're going to blame me for the rest of my life. You're going to do this movie and you're going to do it well. You can't quit now. You can't turn back.
Bobby Brown, the man at the center of Whitney's life,
They say I'm crazy.
whose bad boy attitude made him notorious in the world of R&B. They met in 1989, and that brashness may have been the attraction for Whitney.
She loved the fact that here was a man who could stand up to her. He went right up to her, said, if I was going to ask you out, would you go out with me? And she loved that, and she said yes.
She was 25, Brown just 20, but already a star in his own right with New Edition and a solo career. He was also already the father of 3 children from 2 relationships.
He was sexy, smooth, a gentleman, and a nice guy. Contrary to popular belief, a very nice guy. Treated me like a lady. We're opposites in so many ways, but we're so much alike.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
After a 3-year courtship, Bobby and Whitney got married in a wedding for the ages. 800 guests, a $40,000 wedding gown, and 2 of the biggest stars taking their vows.
With this ring I thee wed.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
We did it! Love is where you find it. It's where you find it, and I found it in him. And he found it in me.
The couple performed together in a music video and were brought even closer by the birth of their child, Bobby Christina. Yet those moments of happiness were eclipsed by headline after headline about their stormy marriage.
This was when you really started to see the Whitney Houston narrative take a turn for the worse, where it became not about the music, not about her brilliance, not about her voice, but it became about what's she doing with this guy?
Bobby went to jail after a chain of arrests for DUI and parole violations. Through it all, Whitney Houston stood by her man.
I was that wife that wanted to be there to make sure, you know, everything was cool and that, you know, no other women were around and da-da-da-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. This is my first love. Remember, I had never really ever been in love with anybody like I was in love with Bobby, so.
But there were rumors that the loyal wife was concealing a secret. Violence in the home.
Has he ever hit you?
No, he's never hit me, no. I've hit him. In anger.
Wait a minute, come over here, come over here. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this, you have to come over here. Have you ever hit her?
No. I wouldn't.
What is hitting me?
Never. I have 4 sisters, 4 aunts, a mother, you know, 2 daughters. I would never raise my hands in any kind of way to them. I love the beauty of woman. And this is mine. No.
But a year after this interview, a distraught Whitney Houston called 911 from her Georgia home.
Ma'am, I'm at, what's it, 1014 Tullibor? Repeat that for me. Repeat the address, ma'am. Hello?
When the police showed up, Whitney said that Bobby Brown hit her, bruising her cheek and cutting her lip. The charges were eventually dropped, but Bobby was a magnet for trouble.
Tell me about you and drugs.
Me and drugs, we're not friends. We're not friends at all. I used to smoke a lot of marijuana, a lot.
But marijuana's still in your life.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person that I'm a very high-strung person. Every now and then, you know, I smoke a joint. Every now and then, you know. It's not an everyday thing. It's maybe every other day.
And it's hard because we're rock and rollers, man.
That's the life we lived in.
Yeah.
You know?
What about other drugs?
No.
Yeah, they
I've
said
learned
you
about-
tested for cocaine.
I tested for a substance like cocaine, which can be anything. It could be an aspirin, but it was not cocaine in my system. And this is what I know.
Whitney once said Bobby was her drug, but was there something else fueling her erratic behavior?
Is it alcohol? Is it marijuana? Is it cocaine? Is it pills?
It has been. At times.
All?
At times.
The real story behind Whitney Houston's struggles when we come back.
One moment in time continues. Once again, Chris Cuomo.
This may be the first time Whitney Houston's voice wasn't the center of attention. That's because people were shocked by how she looked. This 2001 tribute concert to Michael Jackson led to rumors Whitney Houston was near death.
You know, she was always so fresh-faced and smiling, and she began to get gaunt, began to look unwell. It was hard to find the original Whitney Houston in that person.
A year later, she was interviewed by Diane Sawyer, still struggling to come to terms with the problems that were painfully obvious to everyone else. You'll hear her voice straining from what she said was laryngitis.
You know that as we sit here and talk, everybody watching this is going to be staring at you physically. And they're going to be saying, how thin is she now? How many bones can we see? Is she sick? And how sick is she?
I'm not sick, Diane. I am not sick. Let's get that straight. I'm not sick, okay? I've always been a thin girl. I'm not going to be fat ever. Let's get that straight. Whitney is not going to be fat ever, okay?
The Michael Jackson VH1 up here. I'm going to show you the picture.
Well, that's a bad shot.
Well, it may be a bad shot, but this is real. I mean, the bones, that's real.
Yeah, my bones, yeah. I'm 5'7" and thin. I can understand what you mean.
But that's not just thin.
No, what is it? Diane, tell me. Do you know?
It's scary thin.
I can believe what you feel. I can believe that. But do you really know? Do you really know?
No, you know.
Thank you.
Anorexia.
No way.
They've written it.
No way.
Bulimia.
No way.
That it's because of drugs.
No. Now, I grant you, I partied. But there have been times when I know I was going through a lot of emotional stress, and my eating habits were awful.
Reportedly, at one point, she weighed just 96 pounds on her 5'7" frame. Television executives were so startled by her appearance at that tribute concert, she was electronically fattened up for viewers at home.
Did you see that they took electronic devices and changed it for the air?
They did it for me and a few other people.
Other people, too. Other people, yes. Because that sparked that whole thing where the headlines were saying, Whitney is dying.
No, Whitney was dead.
Whitney dying. Crack rehab fails.
First of all, let's get one thing straight. Crack is cheap. I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
Is it alcohol? Is it marijuana? Is it cocaine? Is it pills?
It has been. At times.
All?
At times.
Did you think how dangerous it was?
No, I wasn't like shooting heroin or anything.
This says $730,000 drug habit. This is a headline.
Come on. 730? I wish. No, I wish whoever's making that money off of me could share it with me. No way. No way. I want to see the receipts from the drug dealer that I bought $730,000 worth of drugs from. I want to see receipts.
A tortured denial that would fall away over time. Whitney would later reveal she spent 7 months at home in her pajamas in a drug-addled state, smoking marijuana laced with cocaine. But in this interview, she remained evasive.
Do you think of yourself as an addict?
I am addicted to a few things.
Like?
Making love. I don't like to think of myself addicted. I like to think of I had a bad habit, which can be broken.
If you had to name the devil for you, the biggest devil among them?
The biggest devil is me. I'm either my best friend or my worst enemy. I could tell you that I am not self-destructive. I'm not a person who wants to die. I'm a person who has life and wants to live. I'm not the strongest every day, but I'm not the weakest either. And I won't break. And I won't break.
A stubbornness that kept Whitney from getting help, even when her mother Sissy staged at least 2 interventions, one reportedly with armed guards.
As you get to my door, there's some people I want you to meet. I said, Mommy, you raised me with the love and with God. Now, if I can't make it with you and with the love of God, I'm not putting my life in someone else's hands. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No matter, I don't care what anybody else says or did or what they claimed I was. I know I'm a child of God. And I know He loves me. Jesus loves me. This I know. Yeah.
And Whitney would need all the help she could get, going into rehab not once, but 3 times. Still, it wasn't enough. When we come back,
Here we go.
never before seen video of Whitney Houston. Intimate, raw, personal. See what's next. The year is 1999, and Whitney Houston just hit the road on her My Love Is Your Love world tour.
What they write about me, I really don't care about.
In this never-before-seen video, she was candid backstage about living in the public eye.
I like to laugh, you know. I like drama. Part of me is sophisticated, though.
The video reveals many shades of Whitney, superstar, mother, the vulnerability hidden behind the voice of gold.
Nothing, I don't think, is ever perfect. Can only be the best it can be. You know, perfection is God. It's really not us, is it?
But what no one knew then was that though Whitney loved her fans, she also feared them. Each performance, an agonizing test.
I would stay in my room for days at times, just trying to get it together to know what my next phase was going to be.
When you have been at the top of your game and you slide a little bit, a crazy thing happens here. It makes people insane. All they want to do is recapture that glory.
In the mid-90s, you said, I feel old.
Yeah, like I've been through a lifetime of stuff.
And that it just wasn't any fun anymore.
No. I enjoy what I do. I love to sing, but it's just not fun anymore.
Because?
People are different in the industry. It's about the money. It's about get it fast.
You think you're not tough enough for this business?
Oh, I'm tough enough.
That was a quick answer.
Yeah, I mean, I've lasted this long. You gotta be tough.
But she was becoming a different kind of tough. Tough to deal with.
You have to know you can depend on the talent. Whitney Houston's relevance in terms of deal making had evaporated. She was not number one on anybody's list.
She was often hours late for interviews, photo shoots, rehearsals, and even started canceling big performances.
I want to ask you about the cancellations.
Look at my record. See the concerts I've done and see how many I've canceled in the 17 years of my career and add it up.
People talk as if you're just impossible because you may show, you may not show.
Not true, not true, not true. Not true.
But there's some high-profile things you didn't show for.
True.
Her most famous no-show, the 2000 Oscars. Her publicist said she had throat problems, but there were rumors about her shaky voice and erratic behavior.
Okay, the Academy Awards.
Okay. I was fired from the gig. I didn't mind. I really didn't want to do it anyway. But I was past that. I'm past that and it's over now.
Her career and her marriage were both starting to collapse when she agreed to do the Bravo reality show, Being Bobby Brown. Many saw it as a misguided attempt to help her husband.
Kiss my ass! All right, that's what I did.
Someone who's clearly that much of a mess, letting cameras into her life, the shocking decision, and a bad one.
I don't need money. I don't need fun. I have love.
I'm a drug addict. But sure, you want to film me and my husband arguing, talking about highly personal matters that nobody should ever see? And she said her worst demon was herself. She wasn't kidding.
But in 2007, after a history of infidelity, drugs, rehab, scandal, Whitney had had enough. The marriage finally over. Whitney Houston was on her own, searching for a comeback, with her daughter Bobby Christina at her side.
Do you like to sing?
Yes, I want to be like my mommy and daddy.
And what do you like about your mom's voice?
It's really nice and it makes me go to sleep.
She sings your lullabies?
I love you.
Oh.
Dinner, dinner. I love you.
Bobby Christina would be the inspiration for her mother's fierce struggle to make it back to the top.
This is my time now. You know, love me or leave me. But love me, because I love you.
When we come back, Whitney Houston tries once again to command the spotlight. With her turbulent marriage behind her, Whitney Houston was on her own and searching for a comeback.
I think everybody wanted a comeback from Whitney Houston. Everybody's fingers were crossed, everybody was praying, everybody was hoping.
Then came Whitney's new album, I Look to You, in 2009.
That was exciting to her. She wanted to still be in it, to still be competing, to still be trying to show off what she was and how great she could sing.
It debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts and sold over 1 million copies. But compared to the Whitney of old, it couldn't compare.
She didn't sound bad at all. It sounded good. She just didn't sound like Whitney Houston.
A fact that became more apparent the more she performed, as the strains on the once golden voice intensified. During a difficult performance on Good Morning America, Whitney openly acknowledged the problem.
You know, I talk so much to my voice has kind of left me because when I'm singing, when I'm talking, I should be singing.
Then, Whitney Houston announced a world tour.
She went on tour, and people walked out. People walked out and asked for their money back.
In this concert in Australia, Houston takes a minute-long pause before attempting her signature high note. The big question, could she still hit it? Whitney was still capable of moments that echoed her previous perfection. She had the audience at the 2009 American Music Awards spellbound, but her performances were becoming scattershot, unpredictable.
The erratic nature of some days you bring it and some days you can't is corrosive to the brand and the image.
More importantly, it was corrosive to Whitney Houston, possibly her worst fears coming true. And making it even more difficult was the fact that Houston's misfires came at a time when mistakes could be watched anytime, anywhere, by anyone.
Internet had not been her friend. These recordings, her performances would go viral. A million commenters would come on and talk about what a train wreck she was.
Janice Min says Whitney was becoming a star no longer famous for her talent, but infamous for rehab stints and tabloid antics, including a rumored odd couple romance with singer Ray J, 17 years her junior.
And the only time you saw Whitney Houston in the headlines was at the supermarket checkout. She was in the press for all the wrong reasons.
There's just so many heartbreaks in the last years with Whitney Houston.
Too many for her to take, you think?
For so many years, she had everyone looking back at her. Love, unadulterated. She did not quite have that anymore.
And then there were questions about her fortune. Although people close to her deny it, reports this week suggest the one-time megastar was broke. Over the course of her career, Houston made tens of millions of dollars. Just how much was left at the end is unclear. But in recent years, banks had tried to foreclose on 2 of her homes. Yet, for all appearances, the star's lifestyle was still lavish.
She was traveling with her entourage, family was with her hairdresser, wardrobe people, makeup people. She was still living like Whitney Houston from 1990.
It's happened over and over again in the entertainment industry, that someone who's earned more money than you could possibly imagine finds a way to spend all of that money and $59 that they don't have.
But few could take any satisfaction in these unfortunate events. What we wanted most was to see the Whitney of old, Houston, on top. And the star herself believed she could give us that again.
She decided she was going to stage a big comeback. This was going to be her year. We learned at the Hollywood Reporter that she had actually had her camp approach the X Factor producers to get on the show. She had looked at Jennifer Lopez on American Idol as an example for her to follow to get back on television and use that as a way to start selling albums again.
And the key to her comeback was to be the movie Sparkle, scheduled to be released this summer. Producer Harvey Mason Jr. worked with Whitney on the movie's vocal tracks as recently as 4 days before her death.
She seemed great. She was upbeat, very optimistic, very excited about the project.
It's a remake of an insider showbiz tale, executive produced by Houston herself, co-starring American Idol's Jordan Sparks, featuring 2 new Whitney Houston songs.
She was doing all the things that she needed to do to keep her voice strong. She was working with a vocal coach. She was doing her exercises. She was warming up. And you know, what can I say? She was working really hard at it.
Back at work and trying to get back into the game. Not what Whitney had hoped for herself when she spoke with Diane Sawyer 10 years ago.
10 years from now, give me the perfect life for Whitney Houston.
Retired, sitting, looking at my daughter grow up, become a great woman of God. Grandchildren.
When we come back, the person Whitney Houston loved and depended on the most, her daughter, Bobby Christina Brown.
One Moment in Time continues. Once again, Chris Cuomo.
Bobby Christina, What happens next for her? It's the question everyone wants to know after what happened a week ago to her mother. That's when a little girl, now grown up, tried her best to steer trouble away, saying, "Come on, Mama, let's go. Let's go." For all the questions surrounding Whitney Houston's life, one thing is crystal clear. Nothing and no one mattered more to her than her daughter, Bobby Christina.
In my interviews with her, we would talk all the time about Bobby Christina. They were almost inseparable, going everywhere together.
The little girl Whitney called Chrissy was the blessing that came after much pain and prayer, as she told Barbara Walters in 1993.
I had a miscarriage during the filming of The Bodyguard. It was very painful, emotionally and physically. I was back on the set the next day, and it's over. But I had Bobby Christina 1 year later, and I am blessed.
And in the public eye, she was. Her adorable little girl became a fixture on the red carpet. And on stage, like in this 1997 HBO concert.
Bobby, 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 my baby, my little girl. Oh, no.
But off stage, Whitney was a woman divided.
She said, you know, I have a conflict because I want my daughter to live a normal, healthy, typical life. But it's very difficult for her to do that with my career.
Concerned about the life Chrissy would lead, Whitney passed on what she knew best, her love of singing.
Can you give me a mic now? Can you give me a mic, y'all?
Her daughter thought that she was, you know, the moon and the sun, and she wanted to be exactly like her mother.
Clap your hands.
Friends say Chrissy never let her parents' fame go to her head.
Down to earth, cool, laid back.
You know, most celebrity kids have this way about them. She's like totally different.
Still, she embraced her mother's world without reservation.
Her mom didn't really pressure her about that. She just took her to singing classes to get her vocals right, and then wait for the right time for her to sing to the world.
And that time may have been coming soon. Just last fall, Chrissy posted this video on her Twitter account, a rendition of Adele's Someone Like You.
I heard that your dreams came true.
While waiting for her moment to be a star, Chrissy was by her mother's side for the high and low notes, seeing it all as no one else would.
No, Chrissy's just got my back. When I get discouraged and I go, oh, this is tiring, this is wearing me out, she'd go, no, Mom, we can do this. Come on, let's do it. Get up, come on, get up, get up.
The role of protector was something Whitney spotted early on.
Tell me about her. Is she like you?
She's a lot smarter than I am.
What do you mean? How do you see it?
My daughter, about 2 or 3, and she goes, Mommy, do you know why I'm here? I said, well, tell me why. She says, to take care of that beautiful face of yours.
But caring for herself would prove a challenge. A year ago, speculation she had followed too closely in her mother's footsteps. In one National Enquirer spread, photos that appear to be young Chrissy doing drugs. She fired back on Twitter. It's really not what it looks like. What did she think about the media attention to her supposed drug habits and excessive partying?
She was upset.
Yeah.
She was upset.
That really made her
She
mad.
was upset.
Her family said she has not been on drugs and that they're going to make sure that that does not happen.
But while Chrissy appeared the picture of health last week in Los Angeles, it was her mother who gave cause for concern. Thursday, that candid moment caught on e-cameras, Houston's last kiss on Clive Davis's cheek, her daughter just behind her. That night, the impromptu nightclub performance and Whitney's final song. Friday, reports of Whitney at the bar, acting erratically.
Doing handstands, just drinking consistently, complaining about her drinks being watered down.
Any indication that she was mixing alcohol and drugs that day?
She had been taking Xanax, and she had been drinking. So she was, most certainly mixing the two, which she had done before. I mean, a lot of people tell me this is not something that she just started.
Saturday, Whitney is in her suite along with several other people when she decides to take a bath.
They had heard her singing. From what one of the guys said, they had heard, movement in there to indicate that she was still alive.
Here is something most people don't know. What was happening in that bathroom was a long-held fear of Whitney's entourage.
A former security guard, they told me that when they worked for her, they were very clear that she was not to take baths because they were concerned about her falling asleep. So they insisted she take showers and that they check on her every 7 to 10 minutes.
But on that afternoon, Whitney had been left alone for over an hour. When they knock, no answer. Young Chrissy has been at the shopping mall. She returns to the hotel lobby as her mother is being pronounced dead. The news is too much for the 18-year-old to bear.
She was absolutely devastated, crying fits, yelling, cursing, screaming, basically they felt like having a nervous breakdown.
Chrissy is rushed to the hospital for observation, but returns to the hotel again that night, where despite the news of Whitney Houston's death, a pre-Grammy party is underway.
It had to have been a very strange moment where you see the party where your mother is supposed to attend still going on just hours after your mother died, just a few floors below while the coroner is removing the body. It was just, the whole scene was surreal.
But what is all too real in this very moment is Chrissy's pain and sorrow. Hopefully she will hold fast to those mother-daughter memories, the two joined forever by the perfect gift of song.
Next, what Whitney left behind for Bobby Christina. A song on stage and a love song for all of us.
But it was more than just the voice. It was the honesty and the truth that was inside of the voice.
When we come back.
The journey has now come full circle for Whitney Elizabeth Houston. From that very first time we saw her sing Home on the Merv Griffin Show in 1985 to now, nearly 30 years later, being back home. It is a legacy in music and in love. Here's Chris Connolly.
Okay, so she's in a better place, and she is. But a great place would be still here, obviously.
On Saturday, in a private service for her family and friends, Whitney Houston will be brought home again to the New Hope Baptist Church in New Jersey, where she sang so memorably in the junior choir some 30 years ago. And through music that would become a pillar of her sound, learned valuable lessons.
Church is, you get instant feedback, first of all, okay? If you're hitting it right, you'll know it. Everybody's whooping, hollering, they're on their feet, you know it. If you're not, that people are murmuring and they're going, oh, bless this child, you know.
Whitney's roots in gospel music shone through her every recording, just as they did with other legends of American music, Elvis, Sam Cooke, and the incomparable Aretha.
From generation to generation.
Then she told me one time, she said, Aretha Franklin said to me, I'm passing the torch on to you.
It's Whitney's gospel underpinning that really blows us all away.
When she sings gospel, every fiber of her body, even when she stands, she's looking up to the heavens. When she sang, He's All the Man I Need, she was singing that to her Savior.
She would sing gospel in her first performances and in her final one.
And Jesus Loves Me is significant because Jesus Loves Me is a moment that we've shared. And while she was singing, she said to me, you told me Jesus loved me. You told me he loved me.
That same yearning for transcendence, elevating 2009's I Look to You.
It was the voice. But it was more than just the voice. It was the honesty and the truth that was inside of the voice.
Part of a legacy that has inspired millions, one that will be remembered tomorrow, in the place where it all began, where a young girl with the rarest of gifts found the courage to share her once-in-a-generation voice with a grateful world.
During the funeral and the burial this weekend, our thoughts and prayers are with Whitney's family. In 2003, she told Diane Sawyer, "I'm on the right path because I'm back home. I'm where I started. I'm here." And now she finally is. From all of us at 2020 and ABC News, good night.